Hey, stop the presses. I've got news.
What's that?
Last of Us season finale just aired on Sunday night, and we've been watching the entire season. We should talk about it.
We should wrap it up and talk about the final episode.
I'm certainly ready. Are you ready, Whiskey Vince?
Where is he?
Oh, come on. He always.
Hey, I
he's
got a
there.
few
He
settings.
is.
I'm ready. I was about to run and go grab a beer literally whenever you called me out.
That's fine. That's fine. We don't need you for like
But
the
I'm
next
ready.
5 minutes.
Give
Good
me
spear check.
this is number 2, but I'm about to be number 3.
Ooh.
That's the organ liver for you. It never stops running until.
It never
20
fails till it does.
Yeah. So.
Can we
obviously-
see the artwork real quick?
Yeah. Let's see that beautiful artwork.
Or did you go to get a beer?
That 3 beers.
I just
Vince.
wanted to see. Oh, okay. It's not. Okay. It's not us in there.
Wow.
You guys are gonna have
I
to
think
wait.
If it was only 1 beer, Vince, then we would have had those pictures on there. They would
Listen,
have been included.
You duped me again because I stood up and then Dave asked where the artwork was. I was like, oh shit.
Real quick.
We're saving that for the thumbnail, Dave. So to be
okay.
produced.
All right. Well, the thumbnail's gonna look great.
TBP.
Cool.
We should have shows where we do like send Vince out on a quest to go do something, and then he live streams with updates, and he pops in. That would be awesome.
He's
It's
all
just me
sweaty, just
sweating.
running
Yeah, I was
with
about
the
to say.
selfie cam on.
I'm just constantly sweating. I'm like, okay, I got bread. What's next, Dave?
He's in the trunk of some trucker's car and just like, I need help.
Send
A
help.
stick of Bubblemint gum.
Anyway, check the thumbnail. It's a really funny picture of me and Davis Clickers running after Joel and Ellie. And I think it's a perfect thumbnail for what we're going to talk about. Now, obviously, Dave, as we've talked about ad nauseum, I have not played the game. You have played the game. So I always come to
Played
you.
the game.
You're the Gandalf. In terms of this stream and in terms of this channel, you're the Gandalf of The Last of Us. So, Vince, maybe less or so. I feel like he's more relevant with Last of Us 2 because he's been playing it. But let's walk through. What did you feel about the entire season on the whole? We'll start there, and then maybe we can kind of scale down into more.
You're really
isolated
teasing
thoughts.
it.
Yeah, I'm really, I used to be the guy that buried the lead, didn't bury the lead. I'm going to start burying the lead more. That was my New Year's resolution.
You're gonna bury it where you can't find it again.
Yeah, and then everybody's lost.
Yeah, I thought I thought it was good. I said before on some other episodes, I was a little apprehensive at first when, super early on when kind of like the casting stuff came out. I wasn't 100% on it. As like a lot of fans were, but then I got into it and it's pretty good, and I'm glad it's been really popular. It's been cool to watch to kind of see like all of the game sales too have like skyrocketed up with people really wanting to play the game and like experience the remaster version, which is really cool. Definitely like it's in my top 5 games of all time, and that's cool. And I thought there was some great stuff in the show. Like I thought for the most part they stayed really true to everything, which was really cool to see, like to the point of the biggest one is probably in the first episode where like it almost looks video game-esque because it's like kind of this like POV from the back of the car when they're kind of going all around. There's just chaos everywhere. But they also deviated certain things. I thought some things they made some pretty good decisions with. I enjoyed the third episode with Bill, and that was something completely different. But I also kind of like, going into the last episode, having watched the whole thing, I also feel like I am a little bit kind of going back to a little bit more of a critical side with certain things that I feel like could have been a little more fleshed out. I feel like, after, for 9 episodes, I don't know. I feel like maybe they could have taken their time a little bit more. What did you think?
Yeah, no, I was entertained this whole season. I wasn't really looking forward to this show. With all this stuff, I'll watch it. I'll give it a chance. A lot of stuff I fall off from. And this show kept me captivated. I looked forward to it every week. I thought it was really well done. I can't help but feel like now we're at the end of it. I don't really know necessarily what was earned by the first season. I guess there's great moments, great character moments. I'm with you. I thought, I like Pedro Pascal. I feel like I like him more even, now after this season. I thought some of his character, his character arc, obviously, and some of his emotional beats, and you can really see why they cast him, because he's able to play a range of emotions. Same with Bella Ramsey. I thought she did a really good job. I was with you. I was skeptical. I knew her from Game of Thrones, but it didn't really feel to me like she was a 14-year-old. But as the story progressed and as their relationship progressed, I really came around to it, and I really enjoyed it. As far as the story goes, I feel like there's something missing. And I at the beginning of this, you remember I wasn't looking for it. I'm kind of over the zombie genre, and I feel like the zombie genre has kind of been overdone now with Walking Dead and kind of every subsequent thing that's come as a result of Walking Dead. So I'm a little burnt out on it. And this one really wasn't a zombie show. I mean, there were definitely moments with zombies and clickers and cordyceps and mushroom people and all that, and it was really, that aspect of it was interesting. I don't know, like, I don't really know what to look forward to for the next season. I don't know what their objective for next season is. I don't know. It's weird because normally at the end of a season, you're either left on a cliffhanger that makes you anticipate the next season, especially with HBO shows that are usually like a year apart from each other. But this one, I wasn't left with that. I felt like I watched 9 episodes of a story about the relationship between a surrogate father and daughter, and that was cool. That was enough. But I don't know. Do you feel it all the same way? Do you feel like there's something missing, especially in comparison to the game?
Yeah, it's hard to not like. It's like, again, I hate being that person that's constantly like trying to compare it, but like you really have to with this kind of thing because it's hard. Because I mean, I think the game is like, I mean, the game to me is the definitive way to experience the story. And when that end happened, like the finale is like it's the same finale technically, but in the game it's like so crazy because you've been on such a big journey into like the ins and outs and the good and the bad of the Fireflies and Fedra and like every character and their vantage points. And it's more of like a change for the characters. It's like really, like more of a choice, more of a thing that like, I mean, we were both like, I was playing with my wife and like, we were both like crying by the end of the game. Like that's how like crazy it was to like experience, and like super brutal, and like it forces you to be the ones to like, major spoilers. It forces you to be the one to like murder every Firefly that's there, just one after the other. And we were also trying to remember back like how they did it. And it's interesting how they did it. Like the typical video game thing of like you're going around to these rooms and you find these audio recording tapes from like Fireflies like talking about her and like what it means to them and how like it gives like humanity like new hope and like all this like all these different things from these different vantage points. And these are the people you're just like murdering. And it's this like collectivism versus individualism dilemma that's really been around since the dawn of mankind, where like you feel for Joel and his decision, but you also know that it's not at all a black and white thing. It's like the most crazy, gray area thing. And I don't know, I was trying to think like, is it because I played the game that I kind of just feel like I knew what was going to happen, that I'm not that affected by it? And I don't know if it is. Like I kind of feel like, and it feels like it kind of sounds like a lot of people felt that way, that like things seemed rushed and there weren't that many like Joel and Ellie moments, like kind of looking back on it all. Like there's like a handful of conversations, but it's like that doesn't really, a huge journey halfway across the country like doesn't really like do it justice, so that when you get to the end you really see like their bond. Like really the beginning of this episode was really the first time you saw them at the end of their like how their arcs have changed, and like Joel's now kind of this like more father figure. And I don't know, I mean, maybe if it was like a 13 episode thing, it would be a little better. Some people were actually bummed out that there weren't more zombies because they're only in 3 episodes, which like, again, I agree with you, like that the story of this is not about zombies. Like that's just one element of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I do feel like it was like missing a lot of things, and they're just their journey together. And I don't know, I'm just not sure. Like, And I was always like, yeah, like there's no way they can do the whole game in one season. Like there's just no way. Like there's too much stuff in there. And then that's what they did. And not only that, but the last episode is like a half hour. And the first scene in it was like about her mom. Like that's not in the game or in anything. So that's like added on top of that. So I'm like, whoa. I was like, if they're going to go for it, it better be like an hour and a half. And instead it was like 30 minutes. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Like, it's almost like they hit all these plot points. It's like they went through the game and were like, okay, what are everyone's like favorite moments? Okay, let's hit all those. Let's make those like each an episode.
Yeah, it definitely felt pieced out. Just as a casual viewer, it didn't feel, I think it was missing. I don't know that there's a way to do it necessarily, but it kind of felt like it was missing an A and B story to give you more information on kind of the infrastructure of this world. And that's what was my main complaint with episode 3. And to a certain extent, even the arc, the episode where she's in the mall, really well executed. The isolated story of those episodes was really good, but I just felt like, you were missing out on something else because it didn't, again, as a casual viewer, I don't know that world as well. So I don't know the ins and outs of, the Fireflies
and you shouldn't have to say that at the end of an entire season of watching a show. I feel like, because that's a huge part. That's the whole thing. That's the whole mythology of like what's going on.
It just doesn't, it felt like the stakes at the end, like, it just felt like you arrived. There wasn't much. And again, I thought it was a really good episode. But it didn't feel like the finale. It didn't leave me wanting more. Didn't leave me, especially because I haven't played the game, like knowing like, oh, I bet next season it'll get to this point. I just felt like they arrived and that was it. And that was the end. Again, I thought, and maybe it's because I don't have the knowledge of the source material, but I felt like the relationship moments between them really was the strong point for me. And I love, like, one of my favorite things about film or TV is performances and choices that actors make in their roles that make them, make the role what it is. And I definitely felt like, that came through with these two. But yeah, I guess at the end, it felt a little bit hollow in a way that I was hoping that I wouldn't.
And there's a lot of people talking too about like, and it feels like a lot of people felt that way that especially played the game and like, and it seems like they had it like right away had like a reaction to it where they're saying like, oh, we're going to make the second game is going to be 2 seasons, not just 1. And everyone's kind of like, well, okay, but like you should have done that for this because this is it. Like that finale, like you can't read, like that was it, dude. And like everything in the second game is because of that moment. And so if you mess that up, like you can't come back, you can't go back. You can't go back and be like, oh, here's other things that we like didn't do before, and now we're going to do it. I just don't get what they're going for. Like, what are they going to do in the next seasons?
Yeah,
especially because if they're following the games, like the second game, 4 years passes, and it's like kind of important that those 4 years passes because it's like Ellie gets older, and I don't know. I'm just like, how are you going to pull that off? Like, are you going to just make up more source material? Like why go so quickly through everything when like your series and you have, you could have made it multiple seasons or done it some other way. I don't know.
I popped on here because I had a few things to say too. If I may.
It's like we're at a wake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Whiskey
overall
Vince would like to speak.
Whiskey Vince would like to add to this. I think as a total for the series, I thought it was great. I love how we went into this and like we've already talked about over and over. Dave knew about the game, I forgot, and then Eli sucks and he never played. To this day.
But I appreciated the Moss guy.
You did. I feel like because of that, we all had different ways of viewing how this series was gonna kind of go through. And then last episode, we were kind of talking about if they were gonna finish everything all at once. Me and Dave talked about that, like kind of what we knew was coming and how they were gonna do it, and if they were gonna do it. I think we even mentioned like it has to be like a long episode. It was the shortest episode of the season.
Yeah.
it was 43 minutes or whatever it was, and then the longest
Dude, it was
one
actually like 35.
was it?
because
Oh yeah, besides like
The last 10 minutes were just them talking about
Yeah.
like the making of stuff. Yeah.
I watched it last night, and then I popped on here and I was playing some games and talked to my stepbrother about it, and I coined the phrase that it was like kind of like an anti finale. Like usually finales of shows are like so epic and all this stuff, and this one just breezed right through it. It's like, all right, we're done, and like kind of did this and walked away from it, which like I kind of respected, but also we've already said spoilers. The scene where Joel, it just goes straight John Wick. It's just murdering everyone possible. I thought was great, but it was strange that it was so quick. He grabbed her and he was gone. I feel like I would have been happy with that whole chunk of the finale to be maybe 10 to 15 minutes longer, and him like getting more and more amped up and bringing in like it was brutal, but I felt like I don't know. I felt like that scene felt rushed. He just went ba 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 ba, just killed everyone.
And they had almost like a montage because the whole time the score was like kind of overpowering everything, and it was kind of a soft score, which like I'm not necessarily opposed to doing it. Like I thought, that's kind of like doing it a different way than you'd expect, but like I feel like it took away from the brutality of it, which is like, because in the game it's like what makes it so brutal is like you're hearing everybody around you like react as if like you're this terrorist, and they're trying to get out, and they're saying all these things that are like, I don't know, it's just really like it seemed like a little more of a like powerful commitment from Joel.
It's like in the game, it was a contrast between these people thinking that they were about to save the world, and then Joel thinking he's about to save his baby or his daughter.
And you almost like feel for both of them. That's what makes it like a crazy thing. Yeah. And I had one more interesting like thought that like I thought especially throughout the whole series almost, it's really, really centered on Ellie. In the finale too. They really told almost everything like through Ellie's point of view rather than Joel's. And I thought that was a mistake because the game really like you're playing as Joel, and the parts that we talked about this too, the parts that you play as Ellie are like, whoa, this is super different because now I'm with Ellie. But like I think because in the finale it's Joel's choice. Joel is the one grappling with this choice that he has to make. That's this crazy thing because of his love for Ellie. And I feel like the fact that we weren't as connected to Joel kind of affected that. Like you know more, about the second game, Vince, where the second game is more centered on Ellie. But I thought that this was more Joel's story, and I thought that it kind of took away from it that they were like, more like Joel the father, like instead of like I wanted to feel a little more from Joel's vantage point as like coming into that development.
How much was that, or how much is that the fact that everyone loves that actor, Pascal, whatever his name is? Like so much so, it felt like just listening to the audience throughout the series and like their kind of review and like take on what's happening. It felt like the show was kind of being like, no, we're not going to change this actress. She's great. Trust us. Here, look it. She can do all these cool things. And like that's what the series was. But I do agree with you. Freshly finishing number 2. Like that's heavily going to be all her, and it is kind of a bummer that they didn't take that time in this series to kind of establish who he is. They did, but it could have been more. And then also, I'm trying to I had ideas of what I was going to say.
Was that 2 beers ago?
That was 2 beers ago. I had coherent thoughts. I don't know, man. It did feel rushed. I am happy with it. I do wish that they split this into 2 seasons, man. I don't know how much of it has to do with, I don't know what the deal was with HBO and if they were only given 1 season to prove themselves and that's why the story was just lumped up together. But I don't know. What do you think?
Now it's like that's all you get then, because this is the story. Like, the second game is great, but like you almost don't need it. Like the first one,
they didn't do this one justice.
To stand on its own.
Yeah.
Also, so like, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of like, well, the second story is great, but like, why would you not like the first one is to is the one more so to take your time on than the second one, right? Like,
is this the first time that the audience has been pissed that they didn't prolong a story in multiple seasons?
Maybe
it's the first time that I'm like, no, make it 4 seasons.
I know, it's kind of interesting, and yeah, especially the 4 years passing thing. I just don't know how they're doing it because
I saw something
she's
today.
Gonna still look like she's 12, dude.
Yeah,
like, how do you do that?
I saw something today. People asking like, okay, are you gonna switch out the character then? And HBO's like, no, we're keeping her. But yeah, 4 years later, like she's a young adult now. In 4 years, she's supposed to be an adult. She's supposed to like have all this lived experience living in this compound. I don't want to give away too much, but it's gonna be.
There's definite spoilers that go.
Yeah, I think what you could have done is you could have shot. You could have shot 2 seasons at once, split them up, and then that buys you like basically 2 years before you have to shoot the next one. Let her age up a little bit. Do something different with the way she looks. I don't know how it is in the game, but there are ways to do it. I just think it's tough for like TV and film writers to do video games. I just think like the pacing of it is tough, and when you have so much time. But yeah, it definitely felt like a greatest hits. It felt like The Mandalorian. That's how The Mandalorian feels, where it's like each episode is more of like a stage of a video game. You have an objective, and then how the pinball to how he gets to the end objective. But yeah, I mean, like overall, like if I definitely would watch a season 2. I'm not, it's something I probably won't think about until the week before, where they're like, oh yeah, season 2 is coming out. Because it just didn't really get me excited. But it sounds like that was kind of the consensus. And
it's interesting hearing that. I was definitely interested to hear what you thought, Eli, if that was just me or like. But yeah, it does seem a lot of people.
I think it's interesting that, like Vince said, all 3 of us had different perspectives on the game, and then how that rolled into the TV show, and now all of us are kind of at the same consensus about how it ended. And I think that's I think that's pretty telling on like what it ended up being.
Yeah, and I didn't hate it or anything, like I wouldn't
really
give it a bad score. Like I enjoyed it, but it's just kind of a bummer when like things are like so close to being things that are good are so close to being great, and what they could have done differently. And it's easy for us to say, like, I'm sure the creators had a lot of discussions like this, and maybe they didn't quite arrive at the same thing. But there's another thing too that I was thinking about, that where I've heard people talk about kind of various people in the film industry from wherever corners, that like there's a lot of people that don't think that like the 8 episode format is like a good thing. And I think there's a lot of merit to that. And I think this is a good example of that, because it used to be back when like network it was like, 22 episodes, and like we all kind of agreed, okay, that's way too many, you're just like putting filler in there. You go to streaming, everything's more, 2010, everything became more streamlined. Okay, well now 13 episodes is like the standard, and that was a while. And then I think it was like Netflix has started experimenting with 8 episodes, and I think that was kind of a mistake, because I think what some people have said is like, well, 13 episodes, that still makes it a series. Like you're still kind of forced to explore all these different things, all these different characters, the world. But once you go to 8, or maybe 9 in this case, it's like more like a movie. It follows more of like the plot of like a movie would, where like you kind of have to keep everything like more contained. I thought that was interesting.
It's also the British model of doing TV shows. This is how they do it over there. And I think when streaming came along, it's probably cheaper, obviously, to do less episodes. And I think it like I don't know. For me, it depends. It really depends on like what it is that the show is, because I've definitely seen shows that have been. I thought some of those later seasons of Daredevil had 13 episodes, and there were like 3 or 4 episodes. I'm like, I don't really need, those. They were more filler than anything. But yeah, I think it's tough. And going back to what you said about the creators and stuff, Dave, it's like, yeah, and I think it's tough, because it's, who are you going to please? You have the video game side of the people that are diehard fans, that it's never going to equal up to that, because the game is the ultimate way of doing that. It's like a book you can play and interact with. And then on the other side, you have other people that aren't familiar with the game, so they're not aware of all the ins and outs, or of even what is missing. And that's kind of what I feel like is it just felt very chunked out, and it felt like, which is a technical term, but it just felt very chunky to me, and those chunks fit together okay. And like I said, I think there's some really great moments in this show that really defied my expectations of what it was going to be, and I enjoyed it for that. I enjoyed the fact that the way that the zombies were used, and it was very specific. But I can also see, if you're a fan of the game where there's more zombie and it's a zombie game, like I can also understand how you might be disappointed that there wasn't more of those moments. But
one thing was like that comes to mind with that is like, in the game, like crafting is such a huge part of the game. Like you find these scraps of resources and you have to make really smart decisions about like how to do it. Like, oh, I can make this Molotov cocktail because I got these 6 really specific things. Okay, I better like use it like wisely to take out like 3 of them. But like that wasn't in the show at all. Like
I was going to bring that up.
That like
last episode,
it would have been cool to see him like. What's that, Vince?
I'm sorry. I was going to bring that up last time we talked. Is that there was absolutely no crafting, and in the game itself, that's such a huge role of it. And
it would have made sense in the show, I think, completely. I mean,
think
imagine
so
if he found like a workbench somewhere and he just started taking his like gun.
He's
out
just
and
stealing
like,
water bottles and attaching them to his gun and shit. Like,
yeah, it would have been funny. Yeah, I don't know. There's just things like that. They kind of, I think, like, they just didn't have time for, and they were just kind of like, whatever, it's not that important. But if you do that too many times, even though they're little things, like, and you put it together, you're like, okay, well, it didn't really feel like it was enough.
Yeah, it felt hollow. But
do you feel like they're going to improve, like hopefully improve on all of this stuff with the coming season 2, and the fact that they're splitting it up within 2 seasons is kind of them listening to what people are saying, them giving them more realistic like expectations for how it's going to go, and then it was released that they're doing two more seasons for the second game. Is that going to be the same 9 episode structure, or is that going to be different as well?
I don't know, man. I think that's all up in the air at this point because I think they're getting feedback from people. But that's awesome that they're like open to that. But at the same time, like I was saying, I'm like, yeah, but like
should have done too little, too late.
Yeah, but it's like the game's over, dude. Like,
yeah, dude.
Peachtree says, I agree with Eli. Sorry, I'm just getting to this. Not really going to think about season 2 till it's closer, which is a bummer because the games are so good. Totally. I didn't mean to sound condescending with that. I just don't feel like that connected to these characters from the game. I felt more connected to the actress who played Ellie in the video game being in this last episode just from hearing her voice. I agree with all that too about the crafting lack of zombies in the show. I didn't feel like it was that hard to get to Wisconsin. Yeah.
Well, and she's getting more screen time than I am now.
The last episode is kind of just like, you have this. I thought they did a great job with the giraffe moment. That was what Vince and I were kind of talking about last time. We were like, oh, something that we were looking forward to. But it was kind of like really quick after that. It was like, oh, we're here. Yeah. Oh shit, we haven't really like talked about our character arcs. Okay, we better like sit down real quick and have a conversation for 2 minutes. Like, okay, let's go. Oh, I got knocked out. Okay, I'm gonna kill everyone. It was just very. It's just very like, I don't know.
Convenient.
When I saw the giraffe, I was like, oh no, they're doing it.
Yeah, dude, same.
I was excited to see it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Why is this only 30 minutes?
Oh man. Whenever I saw it, I was like, Paige, they're doing it. And she had no idea.
She's all, Vince, I'm leaving.
I'm leaving you.
I can't.
Vince, I'm leaving you.
Vince, have you seen Scream 6 yet? Not to segue
Come on, man. No, I haven't. I work. I don't know about you guys. No, I haven't been able to. I've just been slaving away at making all these thumbnails and.
Oh, okay.
You need more thumbnails.
Here we go.
As I'm like Vince, 3 beers in, I'm so professional.
We'll let you have the night off.
Just
Vince.
do it. Well, guys, I think we can all agree that the Moss guy crushed it, and I honestly I can't wait to see what the Moss guy has in store next.
Moss guy, if you're out there, you killed it, man. You keep it up, and we're looking forward to season 2 to seeing what you got up your sleeve, man.
I hope with all my heart that the Moss guy finds his way into the MCU. There's got to be movies coming out that's going to require Moss. Man-Thing,
dude.
Special presentation, Man-Thing.
He can create literal Man-Thing.
Sure, he takes 25-minute smoke breaks every hour, but that's just what you get from the Moss guy.
You got to pay to get the Moss guy, dude. Well, I don't know. Even though I'm not completely satisfied, I am stoked that, like I said, so many people are playing the game and it's inspired this, and you know, that's cool.
And it wasn't Uncharted, so that's a win in and of itself.
I didn't see Uncharted.
I did,
sadly, but
I did. I saved it for you,
I'm bringing the Moss Man into this,
dude. Moss Modoc, dude.
Mossdoc.
Mossdoc. Dude, we need Mossdoc.
Marvel should have hired Vince to do Quantumania, I think.
Look at that stash, dude.
That's killer.
I'm all listen. Just give me an AI system, a few beers, and I'll blow these out of the water, dude.
But I won't
That's
see
a
Stream
cheap price,
6.
dude.
But I'll complain the
won't see
entire
Stream.
time.
All right,
Dude, I
guys.
just
Any
realized-
final thoughts?
I just want to say one thing about Ant-Man that we didn't talk about is I didn't realize that the writer of Ant-Man is the writer of Rick and Morty, dude.
dude,
Which makes so much sense why it was Rick and Morty.
I feel like
I think we even
I
said
feel like
that.
they've just hired the complete Rick and Morty writing staff. The lady from that did She-Hulk was on Rick and Morty.
Oh,
The guy,
really?
I think
Was
the
she?
guy that wrote Loki was from Rick and Morty.
Wow,
As I
wasn't our
understand.
review of the Ant-Man movie? We're like, they're trying to be Rick and Morty the whole
Yeah,
time.
I know. That's why I know. That's why it was funny. 'cause
Well,
I
it was
didn't
like
realize
our
that.
complaint was that it was dollar store Rick and Morty. It was
They
like,
didn't go
it was
all in.
trying. It was trying to be Rick and Morty without
It seemed like it was a
capturing-
rip-off of Rick and Morty.
But
sort
it
of,
wasn't.
like-
But it
was
wasn't
Rip and
like
Morty.
ripped off correctly. That's the problem I had. Is
Yeah.
like if you're gonna rip it off, do it. Make it as charming as that show can be potentially.
You got to go
Yeah.
full Plumbus or nothing, dude.
Any last words on Last of Us? Any final words, guys?
I'm gonna end it by saying that I really enjoyed it, and although I felt like it could have been longer, it makes me more excited. I think the only one here that's actually excited for not the only one, but I'm excited for the second series. I may not forget it until it comes out like you guys, but like I'm looking forward to hearing about what's going to happen, and I'm going to stay tuned to the production and everything.
Thanks for being thanks for being the positive one, Vince.
Yeah,
Vince has
dude,
been a
You
cheerleader
really
for
need
this.
that.
Vince has been a cheerleader for this series the entire
I
way,
have
dude.
been.
He didn't accept any thoughts or opinions that differentiated from his. And in the moment I
Never
don't
do.
respect that, but I have to say, in hindsight, when it's all said and done, you kept it afloat, Vince, and here we are. Here we are at the finale, and we can all celebrate, even in indifference.
And it's easy to see where things could be a lot better, but we're also like so spoiled. Like in the last 15 years, like things have gotten so much better. Like I couldn't dream of seeing some of these. And there's games too, like BioShock coming out that I was, I'm gonna worry about too. One of my favorite games, but I don't know. In general, like we've come so far from like where we were 10, 15, 20 years ago that it's there's at least going to be some aspects of what we're going to watch that are going to be awesome.
If we take away anything from this show, it's the fact that they were able to make these video game layouts actual scenes in a TV show that were like verbatim. Like
I'm
that,
so impressed by it.
Dude.
It's insane. There were like 3 or 4 times that I'm like, dude, this looks exactly like the game, and I can't believe. In terms of like straight all the way down to the square footage of like what it was.
Everything,
I'm like,
dude.
You probably didn't even have to do that, but you did it. So that's awesome.
And I still love the fact that they flooded out that hotel lobby for 3 minutes, and it's like I'm sure that
Dude,
was
it
so
was.
expensive.
They just like walked through it.
Yeah, they
and,
never
like,
did anything like that again.
But that's what I'm saying is I'm like, okay, but in the game, like you would have spent like an hour in that, and like I'm not saying you have to spend an hour in it, but like I don't know, like it looked so amazing. It's like maybe more of an episode could have been in that, and more things could have happened. I don't know.
Can I add a few? I'm going to add a few spoilers for what I'm expecting for season 2, if that's okay. They're going to be loose ones. They're not going to
Don't
throw away.
say. There's a couple major ones.
Keep it going, man.
I'm excited. Eli's like, tell me it all. I'm excited to see how they do Seattle. I'm excited to see how and if they do exploring through Seattle to the aquarium. And I'm
Dude, the
excited,
aquarium.
dude. I'm excited to see it. If they do it right, it's going to be epic, dude.
For sure.
And there better be
There's
more
a lot of
fucking
epic
zombies.
moments in the second one. For
There
sure.
better be more zombies, dude. I'm just going to say that.
I'm looking for the aquarium just for the reaction from Dave, dude. That was.
There's this.
all- that's in
a
the
lot
game.
happens at the aquarium, dude, and it's beautiful, like in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Can you shoot a bullet into the aquarium and spring a leak? I'm sorry. I'm letting my
Not
video.
just,
game-
like,
I didn't
whenever
try.
you want- I mean, it's not GTA.
Okay, so you can't kill. You can't kill.
No,
whales
but you can
on
took
the
the-
black market.
You can't just kill yourself as Ellie or like.
Oh man.
But there are cool things that happen. What else was I gonna say? I don't know. I lost it.
Well, I just hope
Sorry,
they I hope they iron out all the kinks in these video game shows before they get to Red Dead Redemption 2. And
Dude.
that's kind of like that's my one reference point for like long form video game playing that I've actually like played all the way through and know the
I'm
story.
stoked that you played it all, dude. Because
Dude,
that's
a great
impressive.
game.
I didn't.
That'd be a hard story to tell too in like seasons, you know. But if they started at Red Dead Revolver, it could be cool, man. They could go, you know, tell different layers and
Dude, yeah.
eras of storytelling.
A whole episode of skinning. So,
Dude, they'd have to just have an episode where he hunts.
those giant turtles.
I was gonna say, Vince. Oh yeah, what I was gonna say is there's a particular moment in the second one where there's an epic zombie. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. It scared the shit
I'm
out of
stoked
me.
about. I mean, they have to do that. It'd be pretty epic.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I didn't know that they were doing. I just forgot the name of the game that you mentioned 2 minutes ago.
Red Dead?
Dead?
No,
Or-
the one Dave
BioShock.
mentioned. BioShock. I didn't. They're making a TV show for BioShock.
Yeah, I think
It's Zack Snyder, right?
It was like a rumor for a while. Oh, God. Well, like, dude, like 12 years ago, it was rumored that they were gonna make a movie, and it was Gore Verbinski was gonna direct it.
Oh,
Gore
And then-
Verbinski.
Dude, Gore Verbinski, and he was super stoked about it. And then they told him that he
Pirates
couldn't
of the
do it rated R. He had to do it in PG-13, and he was like, "I'm out. I'm not going to do PG-13."
Yeah. What? Who
Which is
said
the
they
right
had
call,
to?
dude.
Yeah.
'cause
What?
You got to do that game right,
It's Megan all over again, dude.
dude. Dude, I'm so stoked to watch rated R Megan, dude.
Me too, man. It's
dude,
the movie
only
I
one
wanted.
bloody scene.
Really,
No, I'm just kidding. I didn't watch it.
dude? Maybe you're
I
just
like-
just because they're gonna make you buy it twice, Eli.
Dude, they actually gave it to me. They added it for free, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's on my Vudu. Go watch it.
What?
That's cool.
I think it's under the like special features. So it's like, you know, shit standard definition quality, but it's on there.
Look,
Well,
before-
I can't. We'll have to do more research with the BioShock movie because I don't want to give out bad information. But hopefully, you know, that's BioShock's like one of my top 3 franchises, video game franchises for sure. Like, hopefully, you know, maybe they'll learn a little bit from this, not to do it, you know, quite this way, but you know, and they'll take everything good about it. I don't know, but
Hopefully they give it over to let Ryan Johnson do it. That'd be kind of cool. See
Yeah,
what
dude.
he would do with it.
maybe
All right,
he make
guys.
it part of the Knives Out series.
Yeah, it's BioShock, a Knives Out mystery.
I'm all, okay, I guess. I don't know.
All right, I think that's a good place to end it. We covered everything. We covered season 1. We got our feelings out. Everybody knows where we stand on The Last of Us season 1. You know, all in all, I agree with you, Vince. It was a fun ride. It was fun talking about it, and you know, being edified by you guys and your knowledge of video games. So thanks for that.
Now everyone stop asking us because we told you we're sick of getting
Yeah,
all
we're
these
not-
hundreds of letters, dude, asking us our opinions on Last of Us, and
It's unbelievable how persistent people are. It's crazy. Bye, Vince.
Bye. Bye, Dave.
See you guys. Bye.